Now, coverage you can count on. This is KYW News 3 at 11.
Relentless rain causing millions of dollars in damages, leaving part of South Jersey waterlogged tonight. Good evening, everyone. I'm Larry Kane. It is anything but calm after the storm that dumped more than a foot of water on residents of Atlantic County, New Jersey. Here's how fast the rain fell. At 11 last night, the county had just under 2 inches. But in just 1 hour, at midnight, another 3 inches fell. The water just keeps on coming. By 2 this morning, 9 inches of rain had fallen on Atlantic County. And by 7 in the morning, many residents woke up to a record rainfall of 10.6 inches. Homes, businesses, roads, and bridges. The devastation there is absolutely incredible. Right now, News 3's Ren Scott is live in Mays Landing, one of the hardest hit spots in Atlantic County. Ren?
Good evening to you, Larry. This is the order of the day and the night in many parts of Atlantic County. Everywhere you look, you see scenes like this. You see police cars with their lights flashing because everywhere you look, roads are closed. It was an intense rainstorm that only lasted a couple of hours, but it has caused problems that are going to be around for months.
It's a mess. It really is. I didn't know that Route 40 was a parking lot.
It is a traffic nightmare in and around Mays Landing. The Black Horse Pike, a major artery out of Atlantic City, is closed, washed out by the Babcock Creek, which has also washed out the Route 559 bridge out of Mays Landing. And everywhere there is frustration. This woman is trying to get to a daughter-in-law who has gone into labor.
No, my daughter-in-law is having contractions, and I'm supposed to go pick her up, take her to the emergency room.
And you can't get to her?
No, I can't get to her.
From Skycam 3, the devastation is sometimes overwhelming. Houses and cars underwater, streets turned into lakes. For a time, there was fear that the Lenape Lake Dam would burst, and sections of Mays Landing had to be evacuated.
The fire department and police were at the door, and they said that we had to get out within 3 minutes or the house might blow up because of the river coming up and there was a gas leak.
For some, the floodwaters meant creative recreation, but for many it meant possessions and property and years of memories destroyed.
Tried to stop it. It just kept on coming in.
Just kept coming in.
Yeah, there was no stopping it at all.
Realistically, it could be months before these roadways are repaired. But amazingly, officials say no one has been killed.
And I feel really sorry for the people who've lost their cars in this. I'm just really glad that we're all healthy and we're here to swim another day.
So clearly there are an awful lot of people down here with very positive attitudes, but believe me, there are also an awful lot of people who are suffering tonight. Now, police tell us that the Atlantic City Expressway and the New Jersey State Parkway are open for travel, but they also say this, and they say it very strongly. If you do not need to be in this area of Atlantic County, please do not come down here to sightsee. They've got big problems on their hands. They have a lot of cleanup to do. A lot of these roads are unsafe, and they do not need sightseers in their way. So, Larry, an awful lot of work to be done. It is amazing the damage that was done by 4 or 5 hours of very intense rain. That's the very latest in Mays Landing. I'm Ren Scott. Let's go back to the studio.
Thank you, Ren. Atlantic City Airport is closed again tonight after the flooding knocked power out to runway lights. Now, from Skycam 3, you can see the drenched runways. It's a mess. Some roads leading to the airport are also underwater. The terminal is remaining open tonight to house stranded passengers, and the airport will reopen tomorrow at daybreak. Big trouble on the roadways. The Black Horse Pike is closed from 8th Street to Cologne Avenue because of a sinkhole. Real mess there. Route 59 in Atlantic County is closed at Route 322 due to flooding and problems on the rails as well. New Jersey Transit has suspended its train service from Atlantic City to Lindenwold because almost 200 feet of track has been washed out. Well, the rains might be over, but for many people, the problems are just beginning. At this hour, plenty are trying to cope with damage that has driven some people from their houses. News 3's Bev Williams is live at a senior center tonight in Hamilton Township, where the Red Cross has set up an evacuation center. Bev?
Larry, this is one of the centers set up for the storm victims in Mays Landing for the storm victims. Many have already left here and returned to their homes to assess the damage. Earlier today, New Jersey Governor Christie Whitman toured Galloway Township, one of the areas devastated by the raging rains. Governor Whitman arrived in Galloway Township and toured the Pomona Oaks housing development, an area where most of the 750 homes sustained heavy water damage from the driving rain. The governor promised the beleaguered residents she would seek state and federal aid.
We have to go through the process of listing the damage and see if we meet the federal criteria. I think it's pretty safe to say that we're going to.
Late into the evening, residents in the development near St. Joseph Street were still digging and pumping out. A wall of water crushed the foundation of this home.
It's amazing, the power of water. You see the people out in the floods and their whole home's gone, and you just think it could never happen here. I came downstairs to, water up to the bottom step, and the wall had crashed in, and it was just pouring in.
No, thank you. Most residents in the area had no flood insurance. They didn't think they'd need it until now.
Our house was making bubbles. Our water was up to our doorway, and you can't go to sleep thinking you might be floating next in your house somewhere, on your bed or something.
What did you lose?
My car and his tool from the sheds. And we did a lot of cleanup today, and we still have a lot to do.
It's upsetting, very upsetting. But we feel lucky because we're safe, our house is okay, nobody's hurt. So we feel lucky about that, but we're pretty bummed out.
Damage estimates for Galloway Township alone are set at $40 million. And earlier today, Governor Christie Whitman asked for the federal government to declare all of Atlantic County a federal disaster area. No word on that declaration yet, but tomorrow morning, state and federal officials, along with members of the Red Cross, are expected to be here to answer questions about possible state and federal aid for many residents devastated by this storm. And by the way, the Red Cross shelter here will be open all through the night, and there has been another one set up in Absecon, New Jersey. Beverly Williams, News 3, Hamilton Township.
Thank you, Bev. What caused the severe flooding and how much rain did the hardest hit places actually get? As part of our team coverage tonight, David Rogers joins us from the Weather Center with the answers. Dave?
Well, there are some real unbelievable pictures from southern New Jersey. The last time the Jersey Shore had this kind of flooding was back in December of 1992. And what happened last night was something called training. Let's take a look at our first graphic. The rain was already in place yesterday. Then between the hours of about 10 o'clock and 2 in the morning, several rain cells continued to generate and fall across the same areas. Unfortunately, those areas affected Cumberland and Atlantic counties between 10 and 2 in the morning. Those particular areas picked up as much as about 10 inches of rain. Now, here's how we break it down as you take a look at some of the rainfall totals across the region. As we mentioned, in Atlantic City, over 13.5 inches of rain. Other areas picked up just as much. Millville had about 10 inches of rain, and portions of Vineland just over 7 inches of rain. Most of that is cleared away. I'll let you know what you can expect for the weekend. All that coming up a bit later on. Lara?
Thank you, Dave. Stay with us for more on the shore flooding situation. Tune in to News 3 this morning at 5:30 for complete weather and traffic updates, of course. And for continuing coverage, tune in to KYW News Radio 1060. Well, for the second time this week, there has been a construction accident at Caesars Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City. In this instance, the accident was deadly. A construction worker was electrocuted while working on the 4th floor of a 26-story hotel tower being built adjacent to Caesars. You can see the site from Skycam 3. Authorities say the worker, identified as Edward Florence of Turnersville, apparently touched a live wire. On Monday, 2 workers there suffered minor injuries when a toolbox exploded as they were trying to open it with a blowtorch. A robber, daring one, used a fake bomb to rip off a bank in Newcastle County, Delaware this afternoon. It happened at the WSFS Bank at the Brand Mar Shopping Center on Silverside and Marsh Roads. Police say the robber placed a suspicious device on the floor, claiming it was a bomb, then demanded the money and fled. A bomb squad determined the device was not an explosive. A baby boy stolen from a North Jersey hospital has been found unharmed. The 2-day-old infant and his mother were reunited last night. Detectives say a young woman walked out of a Patterson, New Jersey hospital with the infant in the middle of the afternoon. Later, the parents of a 6...
It is our great privilege to extend this cordial invitation to the head-turning, pavement-eating, curve-hugging, front-wheel driving, symphony-playing, suntan-enhancing, rain-deflecting, completely gratifying CO Acura Summer Sales Classic. Now lease the 3.0 CO for $309 a month at your Acura dealer. Please RSVP at your earliest convenience. At your Greater Philadelphia Acura dealer.
prices all over the place. Just look for the happy face. Always low prices, always Walmart.
Seems when you don't need money, everyone wants to lend you some. But if you're a homeowner with high monthly bills and your credit rating has suffered, who can you turn to? Champion has designed our Clean Slate program just for you. Clean Slate can wipe out all those high-interest credit card bills and other monthly bills and replace them with a monthly payment you can easily afford. Just call 1-800-CHAMPION to find out more. Doesn't everyone deserve a second chance? When your bank says no, Champion says yes.
It's showtime at Showboat. There's good times, great smiles, and the excitement comes easy. It's a great new place with great people and great service where dreams come true and Mardi Gras cats play all night and day. Only at Showboat Casino Hotel. The good times just keep getting better.
Now, the Franklin Institute forecast with David Rogers.
All right, good evening, everyone. Sunshine made all the difference today after all that stormy weather pushed to the north. You can see some showers to the north of our area across portions of New York State. Not a lot of areas of concentrated rain. Some scattered showers across the Rocky Mountains, heading south across the southern plains. Some activity across the Lone Star State of Texas. Also some activity across portions of Florida, but nothing certainly to compare with some of the activity that moved across portions of Atlantic as well as Cumberland County, New Jersey. Almost 14 inches of rain fell around the Atlantic City area, and again, most of that is now pushed off the coast. Going down on the surface, here's what we looked like last night into the early morning hours. Wall-to-wall cloud cover as expected. But one thing we didn't expect is all the rain, because mainly of that training, those storm cells continuing, lining up and moving across southern New Jersey. Taking a look at our features, there's the low pressure center that fueled some of the moisture moving off the coast right now. There's an upper level low right now over the northern sections of Ontario, and that's causing some of the showers across northern Pennsylvania into New York. But otherwise, high pressure is going to take over and looking for a pretty decent start to your weekend. As we check in with our radar picture, there's some of the moisture that moved through here last night. Here's some of the additional activity, and you can see most of it pretty widely scattered. Can rule out maybe a passing shower or two late tonight into early tomorrow morning, but doesn't look like anything too earth-shattering, so certainly don't cancel any outdoor plans tomorrow. As we check in with weather watchers, Rob and Joanne Eichler in Berwyn, 71 degrees there. Not 6 degrees, but 66 degrees in Trenton. Kelly Jo Tomlin down in Cape May at 72, and Baltimore right now still at 84 degrees. If you're an allergy sufferer, certainly the rain and cool temperatures have helped. Mold spores are running high, pollen running low. All this information provided to us by the doctors at the Asthma Center. Your 5-day planner shapes up like this. Pretty dry day on tap for tomorrow. Still about a 30% chance for an afternoon thunderstorm. But again, just keep an eye to the sky for that. 78, spotty shower or two on Saturday. Otherwise partly sunny, 77. And the rest of the weekend looks pretty good. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, lots of sun with temperatures getting back into the 80s. That's your forecast for now. Have a great Friday. Larry?
Thank you, Dave. Still ahead on News 3, it's Big Board Sports. Could the
it's not real far to the south, which sometimes you see a system, and if it's too far to the south, if it comes all the way across, it'll just crash into South America. But this one's a little bit farther north. Definitely we'll have to watch that, as well as this, which is the third tropical wave. There's the second one again about midway across, and check that out. Look at all the thunderstorms with it. And we think there may be a low-level circulation with that too. Hurricane Center watching both of those very, very closely, as well as the area right off of Nicaragua and Honduras. But again, these may be developing in the next day or two, becoming better organized. We will let you know. And yet there's another wave poised to move off the African coast.
You're watching Philadelphia's NBC 10. Now, live from the News Center, this is News 10 at 11.
Relentless rain pounds the Jersey Shore. From the ground, you can see the record rainfall pile up.
This is the worst flood I've ever seen. It's terrible.
From the air, roads washed away like putty as the epic storm surged through. Good evening, I'm Renee Chenault.
And I'm Arthur Fennell in tonight for Ken Max.
In our top story tonight, the floodwaters just beginning to recede in South Jersey after an extraordinary storm unleashes a torrent of rain. News 10 has complete flood watch coverage tonight. Atlantic County's heaviest rainfall started exactly 24 hours ago. 7 inches of rain fell in just 2 hours between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. News 10 ankle deep at a gas station at routes 30 and 575 in Galloway Township. The storm made driving nearly impossible and knocked out power to several thousand customers. And no power for runway lights forced a shutdown tonight at Atlantic City International Airport. News 10 in Pomona, Atlantic County. The power outage closed the airport early this morning, leaving dozens of passengers stranded. Now, some flights resumed today, but tonight the airport is shut down again. Officials hope to have that runway lights back on by tomorrow night. And massive flooding washed out roads and wrecked several bridges across Atlantic County. This home video shows the incredible scene at the Gravelly Run Bridge on Route 559 in Hamilton Township. Rushing floodwaters put the overpass underwater. And here's a look at the worst hit areas. Atlantic County was pummeled. Galloway Township, Egg Harbor Township, and Hamilton Township all got more than 12 inches of rain.
Okay, so here now a look at the flood watch headlines tonight. Repairing the damage could cost as much as $100 million. Governor Christie Whitman has declared a state of emergency for Atlantic County. And tonight she's gathering information to request federal disaster aid. News 10 has live flood watch team coverage for you tonight. Meteorologist John Bolaris is live in the Weather Center. Mike Strug is standing by live in Hamilton Township. And News 10's Tracy Davison live in Galloway Township. We begin tonight with Tracy. Tracy?
Arthur, we are live on Carlton Road in a front yard that looks more like a lake right now, and this is an improvement. And this is pretty typical for what we've seen around this area. In Galloway Township alone, 1,100 homes have sustained some sort of flood damage. Some have structural damage, but most, like this one, just have a lot of water. As bad as this looks for a backyard, it was 2 feet higher last night as Linda Calamer tried to save what she could.
I opened up the garage door at 2 o'clock in the morning and the water was just pouring out of it, and I stepped down the step and the water went up to my knees.
Railroad ties in the backyard floated away. The doghouse was flooded, and the fish in the pond were gone. By morning, it was coming in.
6 o'clock this morning, my husband came home and said, the downstairs is flooding, so we just came down here and started pumping and putting everything up on stilts.
Across the street, water was coming in the window.
I opened this door, and it all came in here, because the water was up to back here. There's a mark right here for it.
Jim has been working since 4 a.m. to pull waterlogged carpets and other items out of his basement, or at least off the soggy floor. The rushing water was destructive to roads and bridges in the area. Many are still flooded, and some, like this one, have just given way. Late in the day, the governor saw the aftermath firsthand.
It's incredible to think that this is from rain. This isn't from being on a river waiting for it to crest and come down and cause even more damage. This is rain.
Governor Whitman says she plans to file an application for federal assistance. She will also be dispatching state workers who will help homeowners assess the damage and figure out what's covered by insurance and what's not. In Galloway Township alone, the damage is estimated at $40 million. Live in Galloway Township, Tracy Davidson, News 10.
Well, utility problems from the floods have crews scrambling tonight to restore power and water. Here's the latest on the outages. Atlantic Electric tells News 10 that service has been restored to nearly all its customers, but at the height of the storm, about 16,000 customers lost power. As for water supplies, Atlantic County officials are urging residents to boil their water as a precaution. The flood prompted an emergency at the nearby Atlantic City Medical Center. News 10 on the scene as volunteer fire companies pumped as much as 10 inches of water from the hospital's emergency room and basement. No patients were evacuated from the building. Now, News 10 just checked. The center's ER has partially reopened to treat minor cases. It is expected to be fully operational by tomorrow.
Of course, this flood watch has left dozens of waterlogged roads and washed out bridges. Quite a nightmare for anyone out there trying to drive tonight in Atlantic County. News 10's Mike Strug is live in Hamilton Township, Atlantic County, with that part of our coverage tonight. Mike?
Well, this is one of the roads you won't want to be traveling on tonight. Route 322 near Route 50 shut down because of water damage. And it's detours like this one that have motorists wondering how they'll get around and police offering suggestions.
Your best bet would be to go right out here to Route 40. Get down here to the Hamilton Mall, Route 575.
Detective Sergeant Robert Birch put on his uniform for the first time in years to direct traffic following the cloudburst that hit this area.
21 years I've been on the police department. I've never seen anything like this before.
This was a storm that dropped more than a foot of rain on this community, flooding roads, washing out bridges, and sending residents waiting for safety. Route 559 in Mays Landing lost 2 bridges. The first was caught on home video as gravelly runs spilled across the roadway. Minutes later, the roadway was gone. And when the water receded, 70 or 80 feet of asphalt had collapsed into the stream. Just north of there, the rushing waters of Babcock Creek battered the Sugar Hill Bridge. It, too, gave way to the force. Fortunately, the rising waters didn't take down the home of Dave and Barbara Connolly in Mays Landing, but it sent them rushing to save what they could.
Grab pictures. I mean, that's the first thing I think.
Now, as shocking as this storm was, perhaps the most surprising aspect is not a single injury was reported in all of Atlantic County as a result of the storm. And officials will be meeting early tomorrow morning to assess the property damage. Live in Hamilton Township, I'm Mike Strug, News 10.
Okay, Mike, thank you.
All right, well, right now, let's check in with meteorologist John Belaris in the Earthwatch Weather Center.
And John's going to explain just what happened. Deep water is causing plenty of traffic troubles out there, and it's sure to remain a problem in the morning with so many bridges out and so many roads closed. Let's check in with Mark Davies, who's live in the News 10 Metro Traffic Center, putting in some overtime to tell us what we can expect tomorrow. Mark?
Mark, the biggest headache is where Mike Strug was just a couple of minutes ago, 322 in Hamilton Township. Chopper 10 was live over this just a few hours ago, and we still had some daylight. Again, 322 at Route 50. That's shut down there and expected to be shut down for a while because of portions of the road washed away. Also 322 near the Hamilton Mall. We can take a look at a map and show you about where this comes in. 322 still shut down at Route 50. Also big closures on 559 at the Sugar Hill Bridge and Gravelly Run Bridge. Also 347 in Cape May County and Dennis Township. Use 47 there as your alternate. That's the latest from the News 10 Metro Traffic Center. I'm Mark Davies.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Of course, stay with News 10.